Seth Pike here, owner and managing broker for Pike Real Estate in Mount Vernon, Washington. And this is your housing market snapshot for Northwest Washington, Snohomish, Skagit, Whatcom County, and all of Washington State, just to give you a good broad overview here for July 2026. So we're going to dive into the numbers really quick. This is mostly geared for those of you who get my email every month. If you're not getting that, feel free to sign up below. But I usually give you guys three key numbers to look at, which is inventory, that's your supply of homes for sale, demand, how many homes are selling or how many homes sold, and then obviously what prices are doing. So let's go into each one of those in a little bit more detail here through this great graph screen that I've got set up for you. Right now we are in InfoSparks, which is the Northwest MLS hub for all the data for home sales. The numbers I usually am giving you guys in the email reports that you're getting every month on the data is usually a rolling 12 months, meaning that's taking the last 12-month period versus the prior 12-month period, and that's giving you the most even amount of data. If you don't do that, what happens is often you're going to run into things that look like this, that are just all over the place, and this will show you the cyclical trends, but when you're looking at things like prices, it's kind of a hard graph to follow, because you can have a couple $4 million sales one month in one county, and it'll totally skew it, not give you an idea what's going on. So I usually like to look at rolling 12 months, and that's always going to be the number I give you guys every month in the report, unless it's noted otherwise. So let's dive in. Okay, before we go to price, we're looking at inventory. The purple line here is showing you inventory for all of Washington. That's the number you're seeing once again in those quick bullet points that I give you every month. And you can see that is up 26% versus where it was last year. That's a pretty big jump in inventory, and that's basically the theme throughout all of the major counties that we serve here for Pike Real Estate. So obviously we do a little bit in King County as well, but primarily we're in Skagit, Snohomish, Whatcom counties, and Island counties. But we're looking at these three, and they're all going to be in that range as well. 24% up in Whatcom, 28% in Skagit, 37% in Snohomish. And these are all homes for sale. Quick note, one more thing going back, these are residential properties as well. So what we're looking at is all price ranges for residential homes, not condominiums. We're looking at single family homes. That's the market that we're dialing in right here. So inventory is definitely up on average throughout Washington. It's up 26%. There's a lot more homes for sale than there has been in a long time. But for a little perspective, let me just do this really quick. When you go back to 2006 and you look at the inventory here, why don't I take off the entire MLS so you can kind of see what's going on in Snohomish, Skagit, and Whatcom counties. Look at where we're at in inventory right here. In Skagit County, 353 homes average for sale every month for the last 12 months. Back in 2009, 2011, even as the market was really tanky, 2014, we had at one point like 3 times as many homes for sale. So even though our inventory is up, it's not up to near the levels that it normally, there's never really a normal market, but consistently we are at the lowest levels we've been at, other than when it was super low during the COVID crazies, which was back here that you see this. So that's where we're at with inventory. Add back in the MLS. Let's just keep this back at 10 years here. So next thing, how much of that inventory is selling? That's the next data point we want to know. We've got the supply. What's the demand look like right now? Closed sales. So throughout all of Washington, closed sales are actually down 2.4% from where they were this time last year. They're down 6.6% in Snohomish, 5.8 in Skagit, and down 1% in Whatcom. So there's a lot more homes for sale, and right now there's less people buying than there have been in the last year. So that's actually a number as well that when you go back historically, you can see our numbers of people buying are just about as low as they have been since 2012, 2013. So it's been over 10 years since there's been this few people in the market. And that's kind of the theme of what we're experiencing right now, is that a lot of people are just sitting on the sidelines, which is making some sellers frustrated, and other buyers are finding good deals because there's just not as much buying activity going on right now. But there's more inventory. So it's definitely there's some deals to find out there if you know where to look. How is that affecting sale price? That's what we're gonna go to next. Okay, so, I've got this on the 20-year mode. You can see back in the peak of 2007, the crash that started in 2008. Let's zoom in a little bit on 10 years because that was a while ago. But it does give you some perspective on where we are at. Do you remember that last big bubble in 2007? If you were old enough to remember when home prices were absolutely spiking and it seemed like it could never go higher than that. Well, we have reached absolutely new levels up here where we're at with home prices. Let's look at where they're at though. What's going on right now, a little bit more currently. So we'll zoom in, and what you can see, the big story with home prices right now is pretty boring. That's the word I have for this month, is just the market is a bit boring right now. And I hate to say it, I wish it was more exciting, but really things are just kind of flat. And that the good thing about that is it means there's opportunity, and it means that you kind of know what to predict. Prices in some counties are going down, specifically in Snohomish County. You can see Snohomish is down here 3.2%. Skagit is flat. Whatcom is actually up a little bit in prices from where they were last year. And then the entire MLS is basically flat as well. But for the most part, when you look at this line, and then you compare it to what the market has done for the last 20 years, we have never had a line that's just been this flat for over a year, almost a year and a half. Things have pretty much been flat, with a little bit of a bump in Snohomish County, had a bump last summer, but for the most part, things have just been flat. That's where prices are, and most analysts I listen to are pretty sure prices are gonna stay flat for a while as well. You know, who knows, things could always happen, but we are basically in a flat pricing market right now. So that's what's going on with prices. One little caveat that I'm gonna do here for you guys that want a little bit more info and are still watching, I'm gonna go at price ranges and show you something that's kind of interesting, specifically for